have got Natasha Howie today with us. You all right, hon?
Hi,
How are you, Natasha?
I'm fantastic, Keita. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to interview or chat with you today. Thank you
Yeah,
so
me
much for
too.
accepting my request at a very, very short notice.
Absolutely. Always up.
Righty. So yeah, what I'll do, your profile, your bio write up, we'll put it in the description because otherwise that will take up a lot of space on our
Sure.
interview. All right. So tell us, Natasha, where are you originally from? Because I just love that caramel skin tone that you've got. Where
So
is that from?
originally from Sri Lanka. So I was born in Sri Lanka, came over when I was 1.5, hence the Australian accent. So
Yeah.
migrated to Sydney.
So you
Yeah,
probably don't remember much from Sri Lanka.
not at
One and a
all.
half.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, it's like Dylan. I mean, my son, my older son Dylan, he moved from the UK to Australia when he was a year and a half, and he remembers absolutely nothing. So it's totally
Yeah,
Aussie, just like yourself.
pretty much.
Yeah. So tell me about your family, your siblings, your parents.
Yeah, so two brothers,
Yeah,
mum and dad still around. So yeah, just a
that's a
little basic.
blessing.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
recently got married.
Yes, yes, which is
So,
lovely.
so
It's
tell us
beautiful.
about your Prince Charming.
Yeah, completely unexpected. Was not, I'd just broken up with the previous boyfriend, and I
Mm,
thought, that's it, I'm done. And then
yeah.
someone met me at the party, and then he said, "Oh, I know the right person for you." And I'm going, "Oh, sure." And
You're
then,
right.
yeah, and then we met up, and I thought, "Oh, no, definitely. He's too young, he's too skinny, not my type," and happily married now.
Yeah, I know. You had one of the most beautiful, beautiful weddings. I
That's,
still remember it. It was just so nice on the beach and the white
yeah,
theme and whatnot. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, right
All right.
party at every beach.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. And tell me, what is the most happiest moment of your life?
Happiest moment? Oh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure you've got
it
quite a few. I'm sure you've got quite a few.
yeah,
Which one will
it
really top it?
it's really strange, but I
Hmm.
was at a holiday in Harvey Bay, and it was
Yeah.
just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong on this holiday. I was
Oh,
with my family, and
uh,
it was just chaotic. And
oh,
then I just kind of went into this, you can all do whatever you want to do, and I'm just going to
whatever.
sit here on the beach. And I
Yeah.
sat on the beach, and I just let go, and I just had this most beautiful feeling in my heart, and just come over me, just this feeling
Mm.
of peace and joy,
Ah,
and yeah, and
complete
it's
Zen
funny.
moment.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it was literally, it had nothing to do with my external circumstances. It was
Yeah.
completely internally driven, but I just felt so much joy in
Yeah.
that moment. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like a saying, and I really, really love this particular saying. I've quite often shared it on my personal page on social media, and I've done it on Angels and Hills as well. We don't have the power to change the situation we are in, but how we react to it, how we respond to it, that's
Yeah,
completely in our control.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, that's the same kind of scenario that, there's things were just upside down, but you still managed to get into your Zen moment. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And that's so you as well. So yeah, for our viewers, I've known Natasha for almost, I think, eight years. I think we met
Yeah,
at one of the events. Yeah, and she's been a lovely friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. So, and I was invited to her wedding. It was a small wedding, only a group of 30 intimate friends, and Hitesh and I and my two boys were there for the wedding at
okay.
Isle Beach, and it was just amazing. So that's how close we are.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. And
totally
you've
blessed to
helped
have
me through
you.
you've helped me through some pretty tough times as well.
That's
You've
all
been a
right.
really
I,
good.
I think I think we're gonna go that channel now. So what was Okay, shall we talk about your health and what you've been
Sure.
through?
Sure.
Yeah, it's a
So,
very touchy subject, but I truly believe that it will inspire other women out there.
yeah. And I don't often talk about it, and I never shared what I was going through on Facebook or anything like that.
Yeah.
But happy to talk about it. But yeah, so in 2015, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was in the biggest shock because I had in 2014, I'd been to a doctor.
Yeah.
And she gave me an examination, found a lump, and said, you've got to go and get a mammogram. And I thought, oh, how ridiculous! I'm young. I'm super healthy.
Exactly.
I'm not
I mean,
the sort
how
of person
old
to
were
get
you at that time, if you don't mind me asking?
Can't even remember.
You weren't even 40 at that time, right? Or were you?
Yeah. I was over 40.
Early 40s, I would
Early
say.
40s, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, there's no way. Like, I've got the best positive attitude. I'm not the sort of person that gets cancer.
Yeah, and like you've always been so health conscious. You've eaten clean. Like you've eaten very clean, and compared to me, I live on rubbish. When I found out about it, I was in absolute shock myself.
So it took me a year to get. I honestly thought it must have been some sort of thickening or something like that.
Yeah.
Just my stubbornness. And then I had told my cousin, who I hadn't seen for a while, she lives in Melbourne. Yeah. And she said, oh, do you mind if I can you just show me? She goes, I don't know anything about it. I've never seen it or anything like that. And she felt it. She went, oh my God. She goes, can you just promise me as soon as you get back to Brisbane, can you please go? And I said, okay. So I went along to Breast Screen Queensland and honestly didn't expect anything, and then just got the shock of my life. So
you initially felt the lump yourself?
And then no, the doctor did.
The doctor did. And so did you go to see the doctor for like that particular reason
just a routine pap smear.
Oh, just a routine one.
Yeah, and she just did a breast exam as well, and picked it up and said, you've got to go. Yeah, it took me a year to go.
Wow.
So
you weren't aware of it before, like you couldn't feel it yourself? Was it like so deep? Yeah. So had you not visited your regular routine checkup, you could have missed it, right?
Yeah. But then it did grow. It sort of doubled in size in 2 months, and that's when I kind of went, oh,
this is for real.
Yeah. So I definitely think prevention is now in hindsight, which is a wonderful thing. Hindsight's so great.
It always is. It always is.
Prevention is definitely better than cure.
Definitely. That's where my focus is. Like prevention is way better than curing it. Of course, once you've got it, like you need to take the steps towards getting it better, curing it. But why can't we take preventative measures? So, Natasha, tell me, what stage were you diagnosed at?
It was still early stages, so it was a stage 2. Yeah. So so it was a stage 2.
So what does stage 2? I mean, I wouldn't I know there's a number of stages.
So it meant that it hadn't metastasized anywhere or anything like that.
It was quite localized.
It was localized, yeah.
Okay.
And I was supposed to have chemotherapy and radiation.
I remember.
And again, my stubbornness kicked in and thought, no, I can control this with my mind. And I went on this crazy diet where I didn't eat, nothing. So just cut all carbs, all sugars, everything out into an absolute rake. and went to India to see the Dalai Lama's
I
doctor.
remember that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
I remember that.
yeah, and saw the Dalai Lama doctor, got the Tibetan herbal medicines because he had been a breast cancer specialist for 40 years, and took the medicines religiously, did everything they told me, and it came back within 5 months. So in exactly the same spot. So that's when I had to go, well, obviously your beliefs that you have about natural medicine and mind over matter aren't serving you in this case. It served me well in many other cases, but just in this case, it wasn't serving me.
This was way too aggressive. So from what I remember, like it did clear up, right, for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, so 5 months I had, it wasn't too, I didn't think it had come back. I felt good. But then,
so what did the test show? Like, was it clear or what?
No, so I didn't, so the tests were, so they followed me up in 3 months, and there was a bit of a lump there, but they did all of the tests, and they did a mammogram. And they did a ultrasound, and it came back as, there was 3 months, and then it got quite big again, the same thing. So I went back at 5 months. So all the 3 months tests were cleared, went back at 5 months. All of those tests were clear. So the mammogram was clear, the ultrasound was clear. And then the doctor, I said to the doctor, I said, because it actually came on the top, in the surface. So it had risen to the surface, which was not like the same one before. And I said to him, I said, look, I'm worried because, and I don't worry, like I'm not a worrier. And I said, look, I am worried because it's turned kind of purple. I can see it, and it's gotten larger. I can see it's gotten larger. And he said, well, look, what I'll do is I'll just do a biopsy just to make sure all your tests came back clear. I'm not even going to make another appointment with you because I'm pretty sure it's all good.
Wow.
And then the next day I got a phone call. Sorry, the cancer's back again.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, you were so vigilant and you noticed it.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who would just rely on the medical reports to say, okay, it's all clear, not going to do anything about it. This is probably just like bruising or whatever it is, and ignored it. I mean, that could have been pretty lethal.
In fact, that's what they said. They said, it's just surgical scarring.
There we go.
So, So,
oh my God.
Literally 3 weeks later, I had surgery.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Like I couldn't even imagine what you felt like at that time. So when you got that phone call, did you have anyone with you or were you just by yourself?
Yeah. Luckily I was with my mum at the time.
Oh, just as well.
But I was actually more shocked the second time than I was the first time for some reason. Like I was really shocked because they had given me so much confidence that it was fine. So, yeah. So, and that's when I went to see the surgeon again and he said, sorry, you've got to have chemo this time, but it's going to be a lot worse than what you would have had it the first time because this is the second time around. So, and you thought it was worse. It was
I saw you at the hospital and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it wasn't like a normal chemo.
No, it was intense. It was intense. And I have seen people go through chemo and boy, yours was just intense as.
Yeah. But I'm so glad that you came with me those last few rounds of chemo because as you know, Mum got so shocked because I went into medical emergency while I was having chemo because my pressure dropped and all of that stuff. So, caused all these scenes and my mum just couldn't come with me anymore.
Because you had the ambulance come home a few times and it was getting a bit graphic.
Yeah.
I think your mum, it was hard for her to see you.
Yeah, it was.
So,
So I'm so glad that you were there. And I was thinking about it today, actually, and I thought, it's so good because you have your own business. So you can you can take time if you know, you can be a bit more flexible.
Absolutely.
Whereas other friends of mine would have come, but they just couldn't take that time off work.
With work it's so much harder if you're working for someone, like, because I had my own business, and it just as well, and I never told you this, when I got the phone call from you in the evening, like Hitesh and myself, and the boys were quite little at the time, and we were sitting in a restaurant having a dessert, and I remember it was 3rd of January. And the reason I remember is because the next day was 4th of January, and Hitesh and I were going to spend the entire day together celebrating our anniversary. So it was all planned. I never told you that. And when I got your phone call, and I've never heard you speak that way, and you were like, I wouldn't say broken, but that just wasn't you. And then you were quite tearful. You couldn't get a word out of your mouth. I was like, there's no way I'm leaving her by herself, And I didn't even ask Hitesh, nothing. I was like, Natasha, I'll be there tomorrow morning. What time do you want me to there? And I was happy to spend the day with you. But I'm just glad that I already didn't have any bookings, because, God forbid, if I had weddings booked on the day, I couldn't have, that. As much as I would love to be with you, I couldn't have. So I had the entire day clear. So I didn't have any appointments booked or anything. And anniversary comes every year. So, that's no big deal. I didn't even bother speaking to Hitesh. I was like, going there tomorrow. And that was a very special moment, that day that I spent with you, or the morning, or, those number of hours. They were just, I know it's not a nice place to be in the hospital, but I just felt that you needed me, and I was there, and it was just amazing. It felt like a spiritual enlightening for myself. It was just beautiful. Oh my God.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
That's okay. So do you have any regrets about the way you dealt with the situation? Like regrets about
so I mean, as I said, hindsight's a really great thing, but definitely when they first got the alarm, I should have just gone straight away. It's just that honestly, in my whole family, there was no one had ever had cancer.
I was just going to ask you that. Have you got a family history of? You don't, from what I recall.
Nothing, no family history. I didn't, I thought cancer was the thing that other people get. Not me. So,
I know what you mean. We always think, it's never going to happen to us. It's never, you hear of these disastrous stories, and you always like, nah, not in our family, not with us, and yet it does. It does a lot, quite often. So you should have taken that step initially when you were diagnosed. You should have gone for the chemo and the radiation.
Well, I should have, but there's no. I should have gone early, because if I had have gone earlier when the lump was first appeared, it probably wouldn't have got to the stage that it got to. So it probably if you get it really, really early, you just have the surgery and maybe some radiation. But if you leave it for too long,
which you did.
That's the problem. I probably would like, knowing myself, I probably would never have done chemo first up, just because I have a strong belief in the power of the mind and natural therapies. But so I had to go through it myself to then go, yes, I could have saved myself so much pain and grief if I had have done it the first time. But I'm just like that. So,
but like you're saying that, but if you had gone for the chemo and radiation straight away in the first time round, you might have thought, maybe I should have given a shot to, the herbal medicines. So it's hard to say, like, for your own satisfaction, you did what you thought was the right thing. You did what your inner self told you to do. And that's so you that's what you believe in. You believe in the power of mind. Controlling.
But
of the
then I did have all that chemo, and it really knocked me around, and
Yes.
I was hospitalised a lot. Um,
Yeah.
it really I just remember sitting in hospital, and
Yeah.
everyone was so great, like my family, my friends,
Yeah.
we're so lucky in this country, they
Yeah.
gave me such wonderful treatment, in hospital.
Mm,
And
mm.
I just sat there, and I was too sick to watch television or read or do anything
Yeah.
like that. So I just sat in this massive state of gratitude for, like almost 3 months, because I had two different types of chemo. The first chemo wasn't too bad. So for 3 months, I wasn't too bad. But
Yeah.
then for 3 months, I was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And in that 3 months, I just sat in gratitude. And that was something that was really transformational for me. It really, really, it just taught me the power of
Yeah.
surrender,
Yeah.
letting go, which I just did, I just wouldn't let go. So
Yeah.
surrender was, just, being in control of everything, my whole life, and being in business, being in control of other people's businesses and helping to grow other people's businesses and all of that.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a lot.
And
It's a lot.
but I just came to that point where I just went, you know what? If I'm not doing anything for anybody, because I
Yeah.
couldn't at that stage,
Yeah.
I just have to let that be. So be it. So yeah, that was probably the biggest revelation that I got through that,
Yeah.
was just the power of surrender and gratitude.
Yeah. I think the fact, I don't know, I might be wrong, but the fact that we hold on to so much, whether it's grudge or whatever it is, repenting on something, whatever it is, but we holding on to things, not letting it go. I think that's one of the root causes of illnesses. And it's deep down there. Sometimes we ourselves don't realize it's there, but it doesn't allow us to heal completely.
Yeah.
But what you just shared with me, like letting go and to have that complete surrender, and that helped you.
Absolutely. I'd never been able to surrender before at all, but I was forced to. And now it was a blessing to be forced to.
Yes.
So because if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't know how to surrender now. So now I've learned how to surrender, and I've learned how to put boundaries so that I'm protecting my own energy. I was terrible at that previously. I would just give and give and give and give and give.
Oh, I know.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
And, and then pick up the pieces. But now I'm really good at conserving my emotional energy, my physical energy.
Yeah.
I know when to, I know I can relax. So I know when to relax. I actually enjoy relaxing now.
Ah.
Wow.
Wow. That's a big change. Where's Natasha? Wow.
So I think, like perhaps, the natural road or the chemo road isn't, now I see it as something that is totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
It was what I was meant to learn in those processes.
Yes.
So
you learn so much about yourself, isn't it, during those sort of times when you're really deep in the ditch.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it really, just the grace that I got from having that horrible chemo and not being able to do anything. Was it was pretty powerful.
Yeah. So what is the main or the most important thing that you learned about yourself after you had been through all that? One thing that's like, wow, I never thought I could do this.
Oh, definitely the power of my mind, definitely. So I was able to. So what I was very conscious of was to not go into victim mode, because it's tempting when you've been laid up in a hospital bed for a week and you haven't, I had to get pushed out in a wheelchair half the time just to get out.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep because it attacked my nerves as well. So that really that really made, sort of, I just had to stay in love and gratitude rather than going and just knowing that the situation was temporary, because you kind of think, oh my God, is this ever going to end? Will I get my health back? Will I have the vital energy? And I'm not the same as I was. I don't have the same energy levels as I used to. So it definitely did affect my body. So I'm probably about 85% to what I was prior to chemo.
Okay.
I also learned I don't need eyebrows.
What do you mean? Yeah, the superficial part of it. You can always draw it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I remember doing your makeup. I think you were attending something during your treatment, isn't it? Was it just after?
Just after I finished, and I hadn't been done.
Yeah, you had really tiny little hair. Yeah. It had just started growing, and I remember doing your makeup, and obviously the skin is completely different from your normal skin, and it's tricky. And I have done a lot of makeup for ladies who have gone through breast cancer, and during they were going through it, and just to make them feel pretty and nice, just uplifting.
It is.
And I've noticed that, you lose the lashes and you lose the eyebrows, the hair, the skin's completely different. And it's hard for us to create what we can, but yet whatever we do, it just makes you feel so pretty for that, that momentarily just boosts the self-esteem and the confidence, and just it's a wonderful feeling. It's a happy feeling. It's superficial, totally superficial, but it works.
Absolutely. Well, it's because it's how you feel about yourself, so it makes you feel, because it's such a it can be such an inhumane process. So by putting a wig on and putting makeup on, you can start to feel a little bit normal and a little bit who you were.
What did it even feel like to lose the hair? Like
I didn't mind that so much, but like I was at a business meeting at the Hilton, and I was and this was at the beginning of the process, and I was pretty much okay within the first couple of weeks. And I didn't realise that it was just at that time where my hair started to fall really badly. So I looked down, and there was these big mats of hair on the white tablecloth, and there were 3 other men sitting there because they didn't know what was going on, and I had to kind of go.
Wow!
Before anyone noticed. So so that sort of stuff didn't matter. But when I lost my fingernails and my toenails and the insides of my mouth, that was pretty awful. The hair wasn't so bad because it's hair grows back. And it and I put a wig on and stuff like that.
Yeah, because for some women, it's a big deal when they lose their hair, because that's where all the confidence just disappears. And even though we know it's going to come back, but you're going through such a bad time, and then to lose the hair and just to lose your looks, it all feels like completely going downhill in every way, So and I guess everyone reacts to it in a different way. I was just grateful that I could hear and see, and there were still things that I could do, so that was where that mindset and internal generation of gratitude really came in. Sure. Oh, and thank you so much, Natasha, for sharing this. I mean, it's a very personal thing, and it's not easy for anyone to share their journey. We've only touched little bits and bobs of it because there's so much, and I know you spent a lot of time in the hospital, and it wasn't easy for you. But we just wanted to give a little bit of a summary to our viewers. What would you so Natasha? What would you like to say to our viewers? What message do you have for them?
Just just it can happen, and I think people who tend to nurture and give away their energy, and a lot without having boundaries and being mindful of their own energy, it can that can be a predisposition. But prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely. What do you reckon for prevention? Like, what sort of things ladies can try?
Regular breast check. Yeah. So if there's a lump, just go straight away and do what they recommend in terms of mammograms and things. I know they're not fun, but it's you just I don't think these days, like, breast cancer doesn't discriminate at all.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. And I think it's got a lot to do with the environmental pollutants and things like that causes it, because mine was hormonal. So it's all those extra estrogens in detergents and makeup and there's so plastic and everything. It's everywhere. It's unavoidable. So it's just those pollutants are unavoidable.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, lovely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Natasha, for sharing your knowledge, your experience with everyone. I'm sure ladies would appreciate that a lot.
And I appreciate everything you've done for me as well, darling.
Anytime. All right, I shall let you go. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.